Hello, this is David Garcia. I'm a data and AI specialist at Microsoft, servicing the health and life sciences industry vertical. And today I wanted to demonstrate Azure OpenAI's Code Interpreter, which is also known as the Advanced Data Analysis Tool. Code Interpreter is a toolkit that is within the Azure AI Agent Service, which is part of Azure's AI Foundry. In other words, it's one of the many tools in a vast ecosystem of AI services in Azure. And in particular, Code Interpreter is a natural language processing tool that can be used to generate insights upon structured data. So, in reality, what I'll be demonstrating today is how users can use natural language processing, in other words, writing in normal language sentences, that will turn into Python code that gets converted by an LLM, and then that'll execute in kind of this sandbox environment, and it'll be able to retrieve information back to the end user in natural language to help generate insights upon your structured data fast. And not only can it do analytics, but it can also do data visualization, which is very powerful. So without further ado, let me show you um, what we're looking at here today. This is the Agents Playground, which is within Azure AI Foundry. So you need to have an Azure subscription. To set this up, I created an agent name, in this case, Data Analyst. I connected it to my Azure OpenAI service endpoint. And I used here in this case GPT 4.0, which is the latest and greatest flagship model from OpenAI. Gave it some basic system instructions to help it understand what to do, which is you are a helpful data analyst. You're going to be an expert in finance, tax, and accounting. Be polite, professional, and friendly, and don't overcomplicate your explanation since you're handling valuable client information. So, down here as well, you have the option of adding additional knowledge for grounding. In this demonstration, I have not done this, but you can always keep this in mind to add information to your agents. You can connect to Microsoft Fabric, Azure AI Search, upload files locally, or ground your information in the internet with Bing Search. TripAdvisor is also available, and I'm sure there'll be more collaborations in the future. In this case, the one that I wanted to showcase was adding Code Interpreter as an action. So I went here to add action. I clicked on Code Interpreter, but you can also hook up into any other Open API spec or custom functions or Azure function. But in Code Interpreter, what I did was I uploaded two files, and I'll show you those real quick. I use sample dummy data for some sales revenue. So here's the sales data. I used only 10 rows generated by ChatGPT. It's just random anonymized data. And then I also asked it for some customer survey data upon these different fictitious products. So I uploaded these two CSV files to my Code Interpreter data analyst agent. And now we are ready to get going asking some basic analytic questions. So let me ask it first, what are the total sales by product? And the first thing it's going to do when I'm first prompting it is looking at my files. It's going to look at the data schema. It's going to try to understand what the column headers are. And then it's going to be generating. So in this case, I had to identify first that it was a CSV file. And then it generated the Python script to then execute the answer. So here we go. It gave me the answer that the total sales by product are Med A, 84K, Med B, 38K, Med C, 44K. So fantastic. We got our first answer. So now that it's kind of quote unquote warmed up, it understands our data schema, it understands the file structure. It should be much quicker now at answering subsequent questions. So let me ask it again, which region had the highest revenue in February, for example? So looks like it looks like I tried to calculate the total revenue by region. And then here at the end, it said that the South region had the highest revenue in February, totaling 22,000. That is correct. All right. So that's fantastic. So we know now that we can get basic questions answered, but we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and data visualization is a very powerful way to retrieve insights of information. So let's see how it does generating plots and data visuals. So can you plot monthly revenue per region? And effectively so, it is using, you can see in behind the scenes, the matplotlib library, which is a powerful Python data visualization library. And it was able to actually generate this very beautiful plot. nice color coded. It even has the legend, and you can tweak these different aspects as well. But I could come and save this image locally to share with other folks, or I could export it. But there you go, very beautiful data visualization. And just to show that it's not limited to just bar charts, let's ask it for a pie chart of total revenue by product. So here we go. Here's a pie chart showing the total revenue distribution by product. And you can see that medicine A is the majority revenue product. All right. So the last thing I wanted to demonstrate was how Code Interpreter can actually reason over multiple files. So if you remember, in the Code Interpreter files, we uploaded two different files. We uploaded not only sample revenue data, but also customer survey data. So let's see if there's a correlation between customer satisfaction and sales performance. So to explore correlation, now it's going to have to go across both data sets, and it's looking into it. And it says that the correlation is approximately 0.17. So if you remember your statistics class from high school and college, 0.17 is a very weak correlation. So there's not really much of a correlation between satisfaction and revenue, which is interesting. Now let me just ask it, yes, can I please get a scatter plot representation of this correlation? Sometimes it's easier to see correlation with a scatter plot. So let's just follow up. Let's ask it for the scatter plot. And there you go. You can see that it looks like pretty weak correlation, but just wanted to demonstrate that you can ask questions on the fly, ask it for visualizations. It gives you really rich visuals. And it's a very powerful tool in order to generate insights from your data quickly. And as you can tell, I didn't write a single line of code, but behind the scenes, it was able to do things that typically are reserved for pretty advanced data scientists or data analysts. So this can enable anyone from the business side, citizen data analysts, business decision makers, to reduce the time to insight. So Code Interpreter, very powerful tool. You could use it today within the Azure AI Foundry, or if you want to integrate it into your existing applications, you can access it programmatically through the Azure AI Agent SDK. Thank you so much. Hope you learned something today.